So in the last video we looked at solving this quadratic equation here, and what we did was we drew the curve y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2, and we looked to see where that crossed the x-axis, or the line y equals 0. And where it crossed the x-axis, in this case we had two solutions, x is minus 1 and x is minus 2. So that's one way that you can solve a quadratic equation, by looking to see where the curve crosses the x-axis. Another way that you can use is by factorizing the equation. And if you're watching this video as an IB student, then you should have met this concept factorization in GCSE or IGCSE. So I'm going to skim over this quite quickly. But factorize basically means that we have to write this as a product of two or more things. So usually what we do is we write it as a product of two things here. This thing multiplied by this thing gives us the answer 0 that we need. Now to get the x squared part, that's easy. We just simply have an x times x here. This x times x gives us the x squared that we need. To get the 3x plus 2, now we need two numbers here, okay? And the general rule is that these two numbers, if we call them a and b for now, have to multiply together to make 2, and they have to add together to make the coefficient of x here. So they have to add together to make 3. And actually there are only two numbers that do that, because 2 is a prime number, so it only has two factors, 1 and itself 2. So 1 times 2 is going to give us 2, and 1 plus 2 will give us 3. So these two numbers are 1 and 2. Okay, so we've written this as a product of two things. We've factorized it. Okay, and if you wanted just to check whether that was right, you could expand it out and do x times x, which is x squared, 1 times x, which is x times 2, which is 2x, and 1 times 2, which is 2. And if you simplify that, you get x squared plus 3x plus 2. So this factorization here is certainly correct. We can see that. Let me just get rid of these lines. This looks a bit messy. It's down here. Okay. So we've factorized it, and if you look at this equation, you look, this thing here, x plus 1 times x plus 2 equals 0. And if that's the case, then it means that either this is 0, or this has to be 0, or they both have to be 0. I mean, if I give you an example, let's say if we did 6 times 3, well, that couldn't possibly be 0, because neither of them are 0. However, 0 times 3 is 0, or 6 times 0 is 0, or in fact 0 times 0 is 0. So one of these things, or both of them, have to equal 0. So either x plus 1 is 0, or x plus 2 is 0. Okay, which means that either x equals minus 1 if I take away 1 from both sides, or x equals minus 2. Okay, so we've factorized the quadratic, and we've realized that again we've got the same two solutions, x is minus 1 and x is minus 2. And if again we substitute these solutions into this equation, then we'll see that they both work, and we definitely do have two right solutions there. So factorizing is another way that we can use to solve a quadratic equation, and I will put another video on factorizing later on, looking at factorizing equations where you have, say, 2x squared there, or 3x squared, which is slightly more difficult. But I'll leave this here just for now, and keep on with the different ways that we can use to solve this equation. Thanks a lot. Bye.